Right, so day one of the production of Delilah, the music video. At this moment in time, there's a strong sort of concept in my mind, but obviously it's very much open to change. It's following the betrayal of a lover's relationship, resulting in the murder of a partner. Quite simply, the male of the relationship, obviously it's a heterosexual relationship, is driving past, either intentionally or not, that can be construed by the viewer, his lover's house, and he notices in the window, to quote the video, the flickering shadows of love on her blinds, meaning that he notices that there's something going on in the bedroom, leading him to understand that she is cheating on him. And from there, it's almost a warning of what a rash decision can lead to, not just for you, but other people involved. So, come the next verse, he waits for the man to drive away, crosses the street, and his partner opens the door, very aware of the realisation he's made, and just laughs at him, which sort of tips him over the edge. So again, to quote the video, he feels the knife in his hand and she doesn't laugh anymore. This is the point at which it would become a lot more suggestive, in the sense that I don't want to show a gruesome, vivid murder in a 3-minute music video, because it just doesn't suit. So beyond stepping over the threshold of the house, from there would have to be some other sort of filler element. And the idea I had is that in between the choruses, because there's not a lot, because the video will follow the lyrics to match in terms of visuals, but during the chorus there's not a lot going on in terms of lyrics, so there would have to be some sort of filler element, as I say. And my idea for such was that during this time, the main subject being the man who's been cheated on, you see him just darting around this house, flicking through drawers, cupboards, tearing everything out, on the hunt for something. Because the murder, I want it to be portrayed in a way that he knows what he's doing, because he's been tipped over the edge, but it is somewhat unintentional. He immediately regrets it. Thus, the last shot would be when the police break down the door again, to quote the video, or the lyrics I should say. She's lying on the ground and he's sort of hovered over her, scattered around this sort of a first aid kit, bandages, etc. Hence what he was looking for around the house, because it conveys this idea that one bad day can send you, especially when it comes to love, etc., can send you over the edge. And again, this is all suggestive and down to the viewer, etc. I've come to the realisation that there's a lot to be done pre-production wise, just to get across the basic understanding of the video to people that potentially working with. Need to draft up a storyboard for a start, because my producer, my executive, my co-producer, Sirin, has brought to my attention that there's many ways in which this video can be portrayed, because there's a lot of other works that are of a similar vein that you can almost steal elements from, such as Carmen. It's a musical. It's all centered around murder, which is obviously the vibe we're going for. There's Othello and all other spins on that, like John Othello, which is a 21st century twist on the main themes of Othello, which is good, because obviously we're trying to make Tom Jones relevant for people. Well, I mean, he's an icon, but for people of our age, he's not the go-to for music choice. And something that Sunita did mention to me is that obviously it needs to be instantly recognisable and relatable to someone of our age group, for example. Thus, you might want to incorporate some form of, not necessarily social media, but phones, text messages, etc. The chorus, for example, begs the question: why Delilah? You could have something of a similar vein, be message, typed in a message by the partner, and instantly deleted. Again, getting across this message that things can be resolved with words, not necessarily in the way that you want. It might end up with you breaking up with your partner. It might end up worse. But if you choose to take an action route, then it could play out in a way that's not particularly good for you or anyone else involved. Again, as I mentioned, so there is that element. It needs to feel, because again, one of the works I mentioned was John Othello, which is the same sort of premise as Othello, except in the 21st century. So Othello is promoted to some sort of high position in the metropolitan police, as obviously a London sort of based drama, leading to jealousy from Iago, etc. So it's the same things, but within the 21st century, because Othello would be a poster boy for, you know, police, what's the word I'm looking for? A poster boy for black police officers, basically, and, you know, the fairness they're trying to convey, because obviously we know there is that issue of police brutality, etc. So the point I'm trying to get across is they've taken an old, because they still talk Shakespearean sort of language, but obviously with 20, you know, they're then getting their Ford Fiesta or whatever, so it seems like a sort of modern day twist on an older story. So the point I'm trying to get across is that we need to incorporate those sort of elements to a song that's based, you know, in the 50s and 60s, so that there is that to consider. So there has to be that sort of element to it, and then there's standard music videos from the last sort of 5-10 years, like Rihanna, We Found Love, Justin Timberlake, Eminem, Love the Way You Lie, etc, etc. So I have to take careful consideration in, like I say, not necessarily stealing elements, but you know, taking certain parts.
You want to talk us through who's in your group and what?
Well, because this is the thing, I'm waiting on. She's all in good saying do this, but Sunita's like, she's not said if me and Sirin can work together. So, but no, group-wise I'm quite comfortable. I'm not gonna lie.
And tell us about the troubles you're having with shooting location at the moment, trying to figure it out.
See, you're on it more than I am. Location-wise, it's something that needs to be explored, but it's a residence, isn't it? And to be fair, upon finding actors, which is someone else that obviously I need to get to, putting out a casting call, we can just use their house as long as we get filming permission for the outside street, because it's just establishing shots and a brief sequence that involves a car pulling up and someone crossing the street. That would need permission, but beyond that, that's totally fine. The problem is it needs to be a house that is, how do I say, like well maintained and of a certain degree, but it can't be secluded, it can't be behind gates, it can't be too fancy, it needs to be directly across the street from another residence, so location could be a stumbling block, but as I say, we've got to play that by ear. Sunita mentioned that foreshadowing would be important throughout the video. See, now I was originally of the opinion that we could just follow the lyrics as a script, in the sense that the visuals on the screen would match the lyrics as they pan out. But as Sunita pointed out, that can become boring, that can become predictable, and you want to have an underlying meaning to what you're trying to portray. So perhaps a knife isn't exactly I don't want to use the word weapon because it's kind of a rash thing that happens, it's not exactly premeditated, but I'll use the word weapon for now. It's not necessarily the weapon that will end up being used. It could be a pillow used to suffocate it, it could be anything, because we don't want to make it too vulgar, obviously. There's only going to be one shot, I think, in which there'll even be blood, so it's still suggestive. But the point I'm trying to make is I've got to further flesh out the story, because I have basic direction in my head, hence why I need to do the storyboards, so that I can get everyone else on the same page. But yeah, it's all open to change in interpretation at this moment in time. An influence that was pointed out to me was Sin City, in the sense that it's shot in black and white, which is what we want to try and achieve. But there are elements of colour, for example, women's lipstick being red, and that clear contrast, which, as I say, can apply to blood. But don't want too much of that, because it's a music video, isn't it? It's not going to don't want it to be too over the top, and hence why maybe it'd be worth changing the knife to something else, because a knife in colour is still a black handle and a silver blade, so it makes no odds whether it's in colour or not. There's not really much else beyond that, really. It's just very early doors. We need to get on some sort of track.